Welcome back to another video dedicated to the world building of Moana. Although the franchise features self-contained narratives, the creative team behind Moana gave their all to make the world feel larger, including countless mysteries hidden within the ocean's depths. As the audience follows Moana on her adventures, we're given a taste of how vast and ancient the ocean is. We know as much as Moana and her crewmates, meaning that every twist in their journey and every encountered creature is a terrifying unknown. Monsters, sea creatures, and the occasional god spurred by vengeance are often the greatest obstacles Moana must face. Whenever they appear on screen, they remind us that despite having a strong connection to the ocean, Moana still makes enemies wherever she goes. Today, I'll review the many creatures Moana has encountered so far, as any of them are capable of returning in future films.
Because if you are, I will gladly do so. In song form.
Number 1. Te. Although not a monster like the rest, Te is the first adversary Moana sets out to face. She's a twisted version of the more docile and nurturing Te Fiti, who is responsible for creating the Polynesian islands that Moana's people call home. After losing her heart, Te Fiti transforms into Te, who is determined to enact revenge on Maui, while simultaneously plunging the world into darkness. Te is a creature without an ounce of benevolence, as she would use her lava to burn everything in her wake, even the people of Motunui. After encountering Maui, Te doesn't hesitate to chase down the demigod when he tries to escape from Te Fiti's island. In the aftermath of their conflict, Maui loses his magical fishhook and Te Fiti's heart, leaving him powerless as Te traps him on a desolate island. Maui is forced to spend his days alone until he meets Moana. When the unlikely friends finally cross paths with Te, the twisted goddess becomes enraged and only stops her rampage when she's presented with her missing heart. Te Fiti returns shortly after, lifting the darkness that had spread across the ocean. It's possible that all the gods have a secondary form or a mirror image that represents the opposite of their core values. I wouldn't be surprised if Te returns in the future, as Nalo is a significant threat to Te Fiti's creations. Number 2. Tamatoa. The secondary antagonist in Moana is the massive sea crab, Tamatoa. An old creature of the ocean, Tamatoa loves collecting treasures to add to his ever-glowing collection. Many of his finds are used to adorn his shell, showcasing how much he enjoys pillaging and taking from others. Tamatoa's desires brought him to Te Fiti more than once, as he was one of the few desperate to steal her heart. When he is ultimately one-upped by Maui, he can't help searching for ways to get revenge on the demigod or to steal the heart for himself. After Maui is stranded by Te, Tamatoa finds the magical fishhook and keeps it among his other possessions. Before he can sail across the ocean and confront Te, Maui attempts to recover his fishhook. However, Moana is briefly trapped along the way, and Tamatoa laments about his many discoveries, belongings, and successes, during which he and Maui battle for the hook. Maui ultimately recovers the fishhook, allowing him to escape with Moana. Tamatoa, defeated once more by his former adversary, doesn't appear again until he crosses paths with Nalo. He explains that he also wants revenge on Maui and Moana, pledging his allegiance to the vengeful god.
Oh, it's a human. What are you doing down here in the realm of the months? Just pick an eye, babe.
Number 3. Sloth Monster. During her first adventure, Moana found herself in Lalotai, a realm inhabited by dangerous monsters. She encounters many creatures there, including one referred to as the Sloth Monster. The Sloth Monster hides its face behind a painted mask, but its peculiar appearance is unnerving nonetheless, as it has multiple arms and claws. The Sloth Monster attempts to attack Moana alongside Lalotai's other creatures, but as it leaps toward her, it is sent into the air by a well-timed geyser. Number 4. Frog Monster. Another creature hidden within Lalotai's depths is the frog monster. While its name might imply it shares features with the common frog, this couldn't be further from the case. The frog monster looks more like a massive fish, complete with green scales and fins. Its most notable feature is its long tongue, which it uses to catch Moana when she falls into Lalotai. It begins ushering Moana toward its mouth, but before it can consume her, another monster bites off the exposed tongue. Number 5. Eight-eyed bats. The first sign of otherworldly bats is during Maui's song You're Welcome, as Maui fights with one during the musical sequence. Moana later meets these bats in Lalotai, as she is chased by a group of them before narrowly escaping. The bats appear to hate anyone who is human or trespassing in their land. They're clearly dangerous and made all the more unnerving with 4 distinct pairs of eyes. They're also distinct from regular bats, as they look nothing like the animal companions used by Matangi. Number 6. Giant eels. The giant eels that debut in the latter half of Moana 2 are the scariest creatures Moana has faced so far. This is my opinion, but their sheer speed and numbers made them dangerous adversaries, and it's likely they would have devoured the crew were it not for Moana's interference. The eels rush Moana's ship when it surfaces near Matafetu. They're supposedly sent by Nalo to discourage humans from touching the island. Although nocturnal, the creatures are determined and ruthless. While Maui tries to lead some of them away from the ship, others set out to destroy it. The most significant damage is the destruction of the oar, which would prevent Moana from steering her vessel to safety. The eels also attack Moni, who falls from the ship during the chaos. He is under the water for several seconds, and it's assumed that the eels have succeeded in eating him. However, he's saved by Maui at the last second, allowing the crew to escape unscathed. They find themselves beached on a desolate island, resting in the light of day while the eels frequented the ocean's depths. On the island, they find the former boat of the Wayfinder, Tautaivasa, which implies that the eels succeeded in devouring his crew.
Ow! Ow!
What if you don't come back?
Number 7. Giant clam. Halfway through their journey, Moana and her crew believe they have found Matufetu. Unfortunately, their hopes are dashed when they realize that the island they found is actually the massive raft utilized by the Kakamora. The infamous pirates apprehend Moana's crew and explain that when Nalo overtook the ocean with his curse and storms, they were forced from their home island. They offer to help Moana reach Matufetu, so long as she helps them with their current obstacle, a giant ship-eating clam. The Kakamora equip Moana with toxin-tipped spears that they hope will paralyze the clam and give them safe passage through the ocean. Unfortunately, their plan goes awry, causing Moana and her crew to be consumed by a whirlpool inside the clam's mouth. The whirlpool takes them into a prison where the demigoddess Matangi is living out her imprisonment at Nalo's command. The group escape the prison through a gateway reserved for the gods, which carries them to Matufetu's waters.
Bring it on, Coco!
Nuts!
Number 8. The blobfish. When Moana and her crew encounter the Kakamora, their enemies are armed to the teeth with toxins, which they use to paralyze the crew and prevent their escape. They give Moana a presentation, forcing her to hear their story and realize how desperate they are to return home. When Moana agrees to help them, they reverse the effects of the toxin by using a massive blobfish, which seems more like a glorified pet. The blobfish can nullify the toxin using the slime from his body, and is also responsible for the toxin's production. The toxin, as it turns out, is collected by the Kakamora whenever the blobfish sneezes.
I'll be back. I promise.
Number 9. Blue centipede. Matangi isn't the only one trapped within the giant clam's prison. In their descent, the crew and Moana find themselves separated in the prison. While Moana is brought to Matangi, her friends find themselves in a desolate place full of bones. As they try to regain their bearings, they're cornered by a massive blue centipede that towers several feet in the air. With food scarce, it seems like the centipede planned to devour the crew. Fortunately, a Kakamora warrior had joined them on their ship before it went down, and he defended them against the centipede with a blow dart.
Can I get a chee-hoo?
Personally, I love the high stakes that these creatures bring to the Moana franchise. Although the story is meant to be family-friendly and enjoyable for all ages, the audience can't forget that Moana is sailing into uncharted waters. Moreover, she has the godly forces standing against her. One of my favorite scenes from Moana 2 is the eel attack. It's the first time the crew seem in real danger, and while I didn't expect Moni to die, the scene still left me on the edge of my seat. I hope future films will continue using these creatures as a way to expand the world of Moana and enhance the narrative.
Take that, sucker!
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated on our uploads.
Fish hook.
Yeah.